It's sunny. You've always known that.
Drop the gun and get on the ground.
Hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Vinnie and I am the host of the Suds in the Squared Circle podcast. This podcast can be a little different. We did record it in two parts. Christy and I recorded it in two parts. We started on Sunday. We ended on Thursday. What you just saw was two graphics, both from WWE. We lost three, basically, members of the WWE universe, but the two main ones we lost were Terry Funk, WWE Hall of Famer, and WWE superstar Bray Wyatt. It's been a very hard week for wrestling fans because we also lost Bob Barker at 99 years old, who guest hosted an episode of Monday Night Raw and had a couple of memorable scenes with Santino Marella and Chris Jericho. The ongoing joke was that Bob Barker hit 99, has close to 100 going over. So we did the 10-bell salute for both Bray Wyatt and Terry Funk yesterday, or Monday. I apologize. Monday night, we did release a bonus episode. It was me and Matt from 10th Floor Podcasts. We did a watch log of the Firefly Funhouse match. So that is already up on the YouTube channel and also the podcast feed. In commemorating the life of Bray and the creativity of Bray Wyatt. But later on this episode, we do mention it on the podcast, but I wanted to come on first and say that our condolences and love go to the family, friends, and fans of both Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt. Now, here's the rest of the episode of Suds in the Squared Circle. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Suds in the Squared Circle podcast. I am Vinny Apicella. And this is Christy, and we are here with you today. As today is August 27th, 2023. We're going to be talking about the week of August 21st to the 25th, Monday through Friday. It was a great week. It progressed a lot of the storylines, although there really wasn't too much action. However, we didn't get through everything last week because we had such a time-crunched episode. Christy, how are you today?
I'm doing well. I will say I have gallbladder surgery in the morning, so y'all might be listening to this after it happens, but prayers for me and my recovery would be appreciated. So thank you. It's my first major surgery, so.
Well, good luck. I've had my share of surgeries myself, and the good thing is you get to go to sleep very quickly.
I'm all up for a nap. I love the naps. Bring on the nap.
All right. Definitely prayers to you and good luck tomorrow. That's it's not a major surgery. You don't need to live with your gallbladder. I mean, you can live without your gallbladder. But right. Either way, it is anytime you go under the knife to lose a part of your body, it could be a traumatic experience.
Yes.
But last week it was a time crunched episode. However, the one thing I do want to bring up about the previous weeks of General Hospital is one thing we didn't go over was drunk Tracy and how Brooklyn got her drunk at the Metro Court pool, and how she just wanted to get to the bottom about why she wanted Brooklyn in deception in the first place. But the aftermath of Tracy having a hangover the next day and Eddie Main coming in, that was classic.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Hilarious. I really love the luau scenes with Tracy, and I thought it was really funny that Brooklyn got her.
Yeah,
That was great. That's like good quartermain shenanigans all around.
it was great. Jane Elliott is a fantastic actor, as we know, she did win the part-time comeback of the year at the Sudsies this year. But excuse me, she it was fantastic how her and Eddie, and I think that goes into actually this week, the interplay between her and Eddie, how um and then Eddie explaining it to Leo too, the hangover part was absolutely fantastic. It was hilarious.
I am really loving the Eddie and Leo scene, so I'm really hoping that kid's on more often.
I am too. And I honestly think that if Ned is going to get his memory back, it's going to be from Leo. Uh,
Yeah, I think that could definitely a catalyst for him getting his memory back. I'm looking forward to seeing whatever that is, and I think they should do it soon because I feel like there's only so much you can do with an amnesiac storyline, and we already have another amnesia person on the cast, which is Esme, and I don't think she's getting her memory back. So we need to have Ned get his memory back because Olivia's really going through it, but I think she is learning to adjust to who he is for the moment, which is Eddie Maine. So
exactly. And speaking of Olivia, there was so much hate or heat online. I belong to a couple of GH Facebook groups on Facebook, and people were up in arms because Olivia was in a sports bra and jogging clothes and saying how, she should be a quartermain and a lady. The whole point was she was coming back from a run, right?
right.
So I don't understand the hate. First of all, Lisa Locicero is a knockout in general, but so whatever you dress her in, she's going to look great. But a lot of people thought that she was trying to win over Eddie by looking at somebody who's wearing skimpy clothes as opposed to the proper quartermain, clothing. And I did respond. I'm like, what's the point? She was coming back from a run. Most women don't run in dresses and high heels, last I knew.
Right. Some will dress in less than what she probably wore. So
Yeah, exactly. So
I mean, look, no offense. I get people maybe wanting her to dress a little more conservative, but I just feel like I guess that really depends on the viewer that you're speaking to, I think.
right. And it's like the other thing that I don't know. When I hear the word dressing more conservative, I just feel like women should be women no matter who they are. Remember, Olivia has the Bensonhurst background. So she's from, right outside New York City, that Italian culture. So I mean, she's definitely not Jersey Shore type scum, but she's from that New York area. So she will wear skimpier stuff to work out, and I would assume, but also she wasn't raised as a quartermain. That's my point. Like, she wasn't raised as
right. Right, yeah. Yeah. She's from Bensonhurst. Yeah. Right.
So I don't pay any attention to some people who just post stuff to hate online. Like I don't get it. There's so many people, and I made a post about this in a Facebook group earlier this week. Like, why can't people just watch the show and enjoy the storylines? Why do people have to complain about absolutely everything? Like, I get it. Everybody loves the show and they want to see what they feel is better writing. But that's why the writers don't listen to the fans, because there's such a divide about what's good, what's bad, and everybody has their own opinions.
Correct. I mean, everyone does have their own opinion, and you have the right to your own opinion. I don't know. I think maybe it's just fun for people to trash talk. I think it's just fun for them, and that's just the kind of person they are, and they just like to do it. And I mean, I like to make fun of GH as much as the next person, but I mean, the thing is, we as fans, we don't have control over
Right.
the writing, the directing, how something's acted. what's worn on a person. We are not in charge of wardrobe. Like, we don't have control of any of that.
Right.
So I feel like if we take that perspective, we take a step back and be like, look, I'm going to take what I get. I have no control over what I get, because I've learned this as a GH fan. Like, I come with low to no expectations now, because I will get disappointed at some point in time. I will think, oh, this could have been played better. This could have been written better. Why don't these people have more scenes? Why isn't this happening? I can complain about a lot of things, but I have to choose to be like, okay, if I get crumbs, I get crumbs. Like, I have to be happy for any kind of progression in any storyline. And my prime example is like Shayla and Chase in Brooklyn, because it took them like, I think 6 months from the first kiss to the second kiss.
Yeah.
That was an insane amount of time. I'm sorry, but that was just an insane amount of time. And I did complain about that a lot, but I just kind of realized, okay, if they're going to move them slow, they're going to move them slow. And they've kind of been doing the same thing with Sabrina. There's just very little romantic time with those two. And I've just kind of learned, like, okay, you just kind of have to take what you get and be grateful for what you do get. And that's just
exactly
kind of how it is.
So many people think that soap operas are real life. And I think that, you know, unfortunately, when you look at a soap opera in that light, where it is, you know, where you think it's real life, you're going to get disappointed. They specifically write to create drama. And that's why there was this situation between Chase and Brooklyn, where Chase finally found out that Brooklyn never wrote to the board, you know, because she didn't want him to become a cop again, because she wanted him to stay a pop star. But then the redemption arc, and then again you find out that Tracy had a hand in getting the people back together, and you know, Brooklyn did help by finally writing and whatever the case was, you know. So it creates drama to get back together. Same thing with Spencer and Trina. You get to the point where, you know, you're upset because Esme is making a play for Spencer because they're spending so much time together raising his little brother, you know, and Trina's off doing her own thing. Sometimes that's real life. I mean, sometimes it is, but sometimes it's also exaggerated, because Trina has a mother who doesn't like Spencer, doesn't want her being around. So while some of it is illogical, if I was Trina and coming downstairs and, you know, my mom said, oh, Spencer left, and, you know, she's like, well, why didn't he say goodbye? He could have stayed to say goodbye, or let me give him a call now and see if there was something wrong, because he wouldn't have left without saying goodbye. You know what I mean? That to me would have been a logical response instead of, oh, okay, not a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was a little odd. I mean, wasn't a fan of that particular moment, but I mean, you know, I hope if the writer's intention is to give Sabrina a fighting chance of being a couple, then you need to give them romance. And I think they talked about it recently, where, you know, Spencer was like, well, I'm sorry, I've been so busy, you know, like taking care of the babies a lot more than I anticipated. But they need to have more talks like that. And she has valid questions, like, are you going to continue to live there?
Right.
With Esme? That was a very valid question, and she had every right to ask it. And I think she has every right at this point to be like, are you going to make this relationship a priority or not?
Right.
Because
exactly.
if not, then he needs to tell her, because that's a disservice to her. It's a disservice to her time. And she's putting in a lot of effort and feelings into this relationship. And on his end, I know he waited a long time to get with her. I think he's liked her from the first moment he saw her. So why isn't he like on the ball with this? Like, I wish he had more priorities where he could work something out with Esme and Laura, if Laura's helping take care of the kid, which right now I don't think she is, because she's off with Kevin, right?
Yeah.
So it's like he needs to prioritize, like, okay, this is the date night for me and Trina, so you're going to take care of the baby while I have date night with my girlfriend.
Exactly.
You know? Something like that.
You know, you're exactly right. And then with the scene of Trina and Spencer in the art gallery this week, and how they did talk about things, and then all of a sudden, you know, Spencer gets a text message, and, you know, Esme's like, oh, well, we're going to start dinner without you, or are you coming home for dinner, or something to that effect. And Trina's like, oh, well, go have your family dinner or whatever. I thought that was I actually thought that was right in line with Trina being frustrated to the fact of you're spending more time with Esme, and I understand you want to take care of your brother, but enough's enough. Like, you're here with me now. Why are you going to run to her?
Right. Well, his number one priority is clearly Esme and Ace, the baby.
Right.
So it seems like I don't even know if Trina's number two at this point. Like, it just seems like he's just not making as much of an effort. So I don't know where that comes down to, whether, that was a choice by the writers just to make this an obstacle in their relationship, but they've never really had like a honeymoon period.
Right.
And that's kind of a problem, I think,
Sort of,
with how they write couples on this show. Is like, they get them together, they have their first kiss or whatever, or maybe their second kiss, and then it's like crickets. Like, nothing's happening.
Well, the only couple that I can really say had an actual honeymoon period were Dante and Sam.
Yeah.
It's like now they're starting to branch off into the different storylines. Sam is helping Cody while, Dante's not seeing, is not willing to play into Cody's, crazy charade. But I agree with you, where it's almost like you got a glimpse of that honeymoon period, and the best honeymoon period for Spencer and Trina would have been right after Greenland. Right after you saw her run into his arms like he was safe, that he helped, whatever, and then they come back at that point in time, it should have been a honeymoon period. Instead, they're thrown back into real life.
Yeah.
Back into all the different kind of drama and garbage that everybody's frustrated with. And that's why they're not, that's why people are frustrated.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And rightfully so.
Yeah. But I did like seeing Trina with Ava this week. It was good to kind of build on that relationship, kind of remind people that they are so close, where, Ava, was the one that helped Trina get into the art originally. And now that, it was funny how Trina was there doing inventory, getting ready for another exhibit, and Ava's there, and she didn't realize he was there, Trina was there. And she's like, no, I'm just here counting for the new exhibit or whatever it was. But I did like seeing that dynamic this week. We don't get that enough.
Yes, I did like that. I do love their friendship and their dynamic, and I'm glad she went to Ava and was like, hey, I really want to work at the gallery. I don't want to work anywhere else because you work with my schedule and I need that flexibility. So yep. I'm glad she's going back to working at the gallery. I think it's a good fit.
I do too. And I think it's nice because even Ava told Portia this week that Spencer, puts Trina above almost everything. So Ava, being the mother figure that supports Trina and Spencer together, at least Trina has someone to go to for advice. That's not going to say, oh, well, Cassadine men are always going to be the same, and they're always sneaky and this and that. And, he almost got her killed, and, he got her in trouble with, getting on a Honda Star and blah, 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 and all this. Ava could be the voice of reason, which I never thought I'd ever say, but, she can be the one and say, Trina went on her own. She's an adult. And, she actually adores Spencer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ava's kind of the perfect person for that because she knows how Spencer is. Mm-hmm. And she fell in love with Cassadine. Yeah. so she's Nicholas. I mean, she's the perfect person for that. So she realizes the fact of that family and everything that being involved in that family is like. So, yeah.
All right. So I did bring him up a little bit ago, but let's move on to Dante, Sam, Cody, and Mac. And I have to say, and I said it last week, and I'll say it again, this storyline is bringing Cody up to main event status. I absolutely have enjoyed his interactions with Mac, his interactions with Dante, and even with Sam. And Sam's like, okay, cut the crap. I know that I know a con when I see one. What are you trying to do? And, the plan sounds crazy, because of how, Cody knows that Gladys is the one behind Sasha being in Ferncliff, and also the fact that she's, there and she's trying to milk her for the money. I don't think he realizes Dr. Montague is actually the one at this point now pulling the strings.
Yeah, no. I hope they find that out pretty soon, because obviously someone's drugging her while she's in there, because Gladys is like, I'm the only one who's allowed to see her. Like, how is she being, so messed up? And Cody knows something's off, so he earns points for me for that, because he knows something is not right there. He is determined to get to the bottom of it, and he's so determined that he's like, I'm going to get in there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go in there undercover as a crazy person myself to get into Shady Brook. So he earns a lot of points for me, and I think that's the only thing that really makes him likable in any way to me is he is doing his best to help out Sasha, who's just going through trial and tribulation again and again and again. I mean, this girl cannot catch a break.
Right, I know.
At all. I mean, she needs Brando. He's dead. He's not there. She lost her kid, and now she's getting drugged again to make her look, crazy. So it's just not. It's not good for her. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this leads, and I think I will like Cody a little bit, just a little bit, because he's helping Sasha. I still don't like him, but I like him a little bit for helping out.
I'm a full Cody mark. I liked it. I really honestly thought, it would have been cool if they brought him in as Cutter from One Life to Live, his One Life to Live character, but Cody has grown on me in the past year and a half. And I liked him from the beginning, and I really thought that everything was great with him. But this storyline now is bringing him up a level. Sasha to me, to put it into wrestling terms, is like the Ricky Morton. For those of you who watched the Rock and Roll Express years and years ago in the the different territories, as well as WCW, WWE. I mean, hell, they're still going crazy on AEW over the age of 60. But Ricky Morton was always that sympathetic babyface in the tag team. Ricky Morton would take all the beatings. He would sell. He would beg to the ladies in the front row, help me, and they'd go crazy. And then he'd make that hot tag to Robert Gibson, and all hell would break loose. But Sasha to me is that Ricky Morton of General Hospital. She has gotten so much. She is that sympathetic babyface. You root for her so much. Yeah, she had her problems with addiction, and I think a lot of that had to do with external factors in her life at the time, trying to keep up with everything, keep up with being the face of deception and everything. And then now, she's finally on the up and up. She's turned her life around. She's successful, but her weak point is trusting Gladys. And that is one of the biggest detriments to her. She will justify everything. Now, understandably, Gladys has, power of attorney over her and is guardian of her, because Brando passed away. So she's going to justify things, and she's going to try to quote unquote keep the peace. But now I hope that, Cody's able to see that Gladys is the one behind it. I mean, I've heard rumors that Gladys might be out of Port Charles soon, so maybe she'll be getting her comeuppance within the next couple of weeks. But I don't know for sure. It's just rumor in the innuendo. But at this point, I'm enjoying the story. I know a lot of people are hating it. I see a lot of people online saying they hate the storyline. Not necessarily how, Sasha's acting is and how she's taking it, or Sophia Matson, I should say, how her acting is, but they hate the storyline. It might be triggering for some people who do deal with mental illness to see something as intense as what's going on. But Sophia Matson has been knocking it out of the park in general.
Yeah. I mean, my hat's off to her. I don't know how I could do that. It's rough. Yeah. A lot of tears, a lot of crying, and a lot of acting like you're crazy. So,
so how do you think Sam is going to get Cody into Ferncliff? How do you think she's gonna? I know that Cody said to commit him, because obviously Mac won't, Dante won't. I honestly wish he would have come clean with, come clean to Mac or Dante and say, hey, he tried. He said
Yeah.
this was the one who was, responsible, but there's no proof, so he started acting crazy. And that I would think that at some point he would say, listen, I need to get in there and save her. But they don't believe him. So there's a catch-22 there. So he has to go to Sam.
I mean, Sam's pretty smart and resourceful, so I'm sure she's going to come up with something. Maybe she's going to probably say he just lost his sanity in some way, shape, or form, that he has a obsession or some kind of insane disorder. I don't know. I'm sure she'll come up with something. I think she's smart enough to do it. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, do you have to come up with some kind of like valid reason to get someone committed these days? I don't know how that works, but
I don't know either. I honestly don't know. I mean, I know there are two ways: it's either court ordered, or there is self-reporting or what have you. I don't know.
I just came up with it. Okay, well, maybe he could be in danger of hurting himself. So I mean, that right there is, because they have to hold you for 72 hours, I think, if they believe you're gonna hurt yourself or others. So
right.
That would be a way to do it.
That does make sense. I wonder if we'll see Spinelli get roped into helping him. Because they tried once. They tried to get Gladys caught on recording that she was, taking Sasha for her money, or, was the one that set Cody up with stealing the bracelet. They tried to get her, but then Miss Wu interfered. And because remember that scene where Sam was sitting there reading the book, and then Christina comes over and tries to start talking to her, so she had to leave the microphone out there, and that's where Miss Wu found it. So it was a failed, bumbled attempt. But at the same time, I want to see Gladys get hers. Like, I want to see Gladys get what's coming to her.
Yeah, she's literally one of the most unlikable characters, besides probably Nina, for me, on the screen right now. I mean, it's her and Nina, like, right up there. Like, I literally can't stand you. Please get off my screen. Like, I literally hate you. And I hate you, just to highly dislike you. Like, you're just annoying to me. The thing is about Gladys is she's just very selfish, and she's very money hungry. So what do you call gold digger? She's very much a gold digger in the sense of, I'm after the money any way I can get it. And she wants to use Sasha's deception shares or use anything that Sasha has to get money. And then she's involved with paying back Miss Wu. I'm like, oh man, Miss Wu should just like kill you off. Like, I don't like you. Like, that would be great, because I thought Miss Wu would for sure be like, all right, she's gonna get hers some other way.
Well, Miss Wu really doesn't care as long as she gets her money. I mean, the only reason why Miss Wu was after her is because she owes so much gambling debt.
Well, yeah. Can we talk about Miss Wu for a second? Because I really liked her scenes with Half Daddy this week too. That was good. I was like, ooh, how's she gonna take this? Because Half Daddy's like, you ain't gonna do your gambling game here anymore. I was like, ooh.
Oh yeah, he's
I go after him now. I don't know what's gonna happen here.
Well, remember when he first came in, he had a problem with Sonny because he had a problem with the organized crime aspect of it. So it plays into his character to not want organized crime, the gambling, in the back room of the Savoy. If he's going to be temporary owner or temporary manager while Curtis is on the mend or whatever the case may be, it makes sense. I think that Marshall will reinvigorate the Savoy and turn it into more of a jazz club with more live music. And he doesn't want to be the subject of having the illegal games going on.
Yeah, no. I mean, I just liked her facial expressions. I was like, oh, let's see how well this goes over.
Lydia has fantastic facial expressions.
Yeah, she does. And I'm like, I don't know if this is going to go over. I feel like she's going to get him back in some way for cutting off her gambling games in the back room. I feel like she's going to do something to him at some point in time. because she's not gonna like that. I don't think she's just gonna be like, "Oh, okay, that's fine."
She may go to Sunny. She may go to Sunny and say, "Hey, Marshall is not allowing me to run my business." Although I don't even know if Sunny knew that she was doing the poker games. So
No,
I'm not sure if that'll happen or not.
I mean, are her and Sunny on good terms? I mean, I thought they were competing.
They have an agreement. They have an agreement that they will, or Miss Wu has to give Sunny so much percentage of whatever she does on his turf. At least that's the agreement that I thought was how it went down when he came back after being in Nixon Falls. After those other two yokels were killed.
We will see. I don't.
So I don't. Yeah, we'll see what plays out in the coming weeks. I think that's going to be. I hope that that's a front burner storyline now with Marshall and Miss Wu.
Right.
We know that Curtis is still in a wheelchair, trying the physical therapy. I find it great that they brought somebody in, who was a double amputee, who basically gave Curtis a pep talk, and said, "Listen, you got, don't ever give up, but just go on your time, go day by day."
Mm-hmm.
I think that I really felt like this week wasn't much in terms of the Curtis storyline outside of his physical therapist and the other guy giving him that confidence, that pep talk to say, "Hey, yeah, it sucks now, but it could be worse. And you want to get better. It's not going to happen overnight. And don't compare yourself to anybody else." So a lot of good wisdom in those scenes. It just didn't move really the storyline further.
Yeah. I mean, that's okay. It's not one of my favorite storylines. I'm not gonna lie. It's not. Curtis is not one of my favorite people. I told you all that on the podcast before.
Yeah.
He's not on my favorites list. I'm sorry. Sorry, Donnell, I think, who plays him. I'm sorry. He's just not my favorite, but I do admire him really trying to force himself to walk in physical therapy and get better to do what he needs to do, because I'm sure he feels helpless right now, that right. He feels like he can't do anything and he wants to be able to do it. So I know he'll get there. It'll take time. It'll take GH time. And GH time is not always on our timeline, but it's GH time, so it'll take as long as it takes.
Absolutely. So although there was a good scene with Curtis's physical trainer and Jordan coming in during that physical training session, and apparently the physical trainer is a new supposed love interest for Jordan. That's what I'm hearing. That's why they brought him on.
Another one for Jordan. All right, Jordan, you get down dirty with this one too. All right. All right, Jordan.
I don't know what happened to Zeke.
Yeah, right. I mean, that was kind of hot and heavy there at first, and then it was like, what happened?
I mean, basically, he ended up. He came in for a flash in the pan. I think he got scared when the bullets started coming through at the Metrogore pool. He's like, "This is too dangerous for me to be here."
yeah. There's too much crime in this town. I'm out. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I mean, hey, Jordan needs to get some. Good for her. Good for her if she getting around. Good for her if this is another love interest for her. So.
But anywho, yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand where Zeke went, because he was that love interest for Jordan.
Yeah.
But now with this other guy. So I don't even know his name. Did they give him a name yet?
I don't think so. I didn't catch one.
Yeah, I didn't either. Well, speaking of names, all right, I gotta ask you, we found, we heard the name again this week of Molly's surrogate.
Oh, right.
Is it me or did they now? I thought I heard her name was Andrea Yates.
That's what I saw on Twitter.
Then I had somebody say that the name was Andrea Gates. I thought I heard Yates.
I
That
don't know. I don't know. I mean, regardless of her name, the storyline is just like I don't. I have some thoughts. The one scene that comes to mind is Andrea, Christina, and Alexis. They all have the scene at the MetroCorp pool, right?
Yep.
And Alexis is like, "Thank you so much for giving this gift to my daughter." But it's not technically like a gift if you're paying
You're
that
paying for
person,
it, right?
Like, I'm no. I mean, it's a paid gift. I mean, I don't know what you call it.
Well, I mean, anytime, a baby comes, it's called a gift of life, no matter what, whether you.
I guess. I mean, yeah, in that sense, it's
Yeah.
like a gift. But I think this is ultimately going to lead down the road of something's going to happen with the surrogate, whether she's, suspicious, she's just there for like the money purposes, or she's just like there to get information on the family. I don't know, whatever they're going to do with the surrogate.
Right.
But I think ultimately they're going to have Christina probably be the surrogate, right? So, whether the surrogate doesn't work out for medical reasons or some other kind of reason, like, I mean, ultimately they're going to have Christina and Molly reconcile or whatever, and have Christina be the surrogate. Like, I think we know that's the end game in this whole storyline, right?
I think so. I think that's what the whole point of the storyline is. Eventually, Christina's going to be the one to be the surrogate. Because I mean, I completely, maybe Andrea's eggs aren't viable, or she can't, because remember, Molly's eggs aren't viable. A lot of times in the surrogacy, they use the father and the mother's egg, sperm and egg, whereas this time you can only do the sperm. So it has to be up to the woman to be able to carry the baby. Maybe something there is off. I don't know for sure. I'm no doctor. I never even want to go to school for that long and become a doctor. But I don't know how they're going to write it where they switch from Andrea to Christina.
Yeah. I don't know, but I mean, I'm sure it'll play out some way. Something's probably going to be up with Andrea, is my guess. Whether it's she loses the baby, or they have to try again, they have to do something, or Andrea's somehow like connected to such and such, and she's trying to get information, or I don't know. Like, GH is kind of messy with stuff. Like, something's gonna go down with Andrea, and we're probably gonna end up with Christina as the ultimate surrogate. Yeah. So, and Christina, I think, said, like, you don't have to pay me. Like, I would do it for free. Like, right. Why are you picking me as your surrogate? Like, I don't know why she's not, but we gotta reconcile that relationship. I think there's something there, because I think there's resentment or something Molly has against Christina, and
there's definitely some kind of resentment there, because you could hear it while they're talking. I've never known Molly to be the one to hide anything from Christina, so that's definitely a character change with the new actress. Can't be gender specific anymore. The new actor, but I don't like it. Like, I can understand, Molly kind of being suspicious or not wanting to hurt Christina's feelings by choosing somebody else, but to just completely exclude her and to say, for whatever reason we didn't choose you as a surrogate. I honestly feel like if it was still, Haley Poulos, they would have written it where she just came right out and said, listen, I'm sorry, we've gone in this direction because of A, B, and C. She's straight to the point.
All right. Yeah, I don't know why they're not like saying that, because obviously there's some kind of tension there between the two. And I think there is resentment, and there's some kind of something they got to work through, whether Molly's jealous of Christina because of such and such, or whatever kind of resentment is there needs to be discussed, brought to light, and worked through in order for, I think, Christina to be the ultimate surrogate.
Right.
Situation.
Either way, I'm not really that fond of the storyline in general. I don't, you know, I don't know. Like I've been seeing people say, "Oh, the new Christina is too impulsive." Christina's always been impulsive. Maybe she's not the kind of, and I made the comment like, she's like a bull in a china shop, because she is. She's just that kind of person. But I will say her heart's in the right place, especially when it comes to opening the center for the LGBTQ alphabet soup, teenagers that need help. And putting Terry on the board was a great idea, considering Terry is a, transgender person.
Yeah.
She's gone through it her entire life. I would have just rather seen those scenes instead of just happening off screen.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
I would have liked to see the conversation between Christina and Terry when Christina kind of broaches that subject.
Yeah. And I wish they would have Terry on screen more, because they started this whole Terry and Yuri relationship that we barely get to see. And I hate when they do that. I hate when they start stuff and it looks good, and then you want to see continuation of that, but there's just no follow through. Like there's very little follow through, or it comes months later and be like, "Oh yeah, remember Terry and Yuri? Like let's bring them up again for like 5 seconds."
Well, the problem is that Terry and Yuri are both recurring characters, and they're both kind of like that secondary, tertiary tier. Like Yuri itself was literally just a bodyguard, like until he started having some kind of relationship with Monica.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. Yeah. And I liked that they were going to like develop Spirit Turn. I would love to know Yuri more, but like you said, recurring characters, so there's probably only so much they can do with that, depending on the actor schedule and all that.
Exactly, without putting them on contract and saying, "Hey, we've got you scheduled for XYZ." You know what I mean? It just, I don't know the whole behind the scenes. I don't know how they decide, how a recurring character works. Is it you get called day of? Do you get called the week before? Do you get called, a couple days before by the writer saying, "Hey, we have this idea," and then with the FICOR writers on there now, and the original storylines kind of scrapped for right now. Right. Could that, I don't know. I would think that they would be using the recurring cast more, because I don't think they have any other work with the actors on strike right now, and with soap opera actors being under a different contract, I would think that they would be more available. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's probably some more behind the scenes stuff we don't know with that which is probably plays into it, and probably plays into a lot of things, because I mean there's, like I said, stuff with Chase in Brooklyn and Spencer and Trina, and I don't get why XYZ isn't happening, but of course there's stuff behind the scenes that we may not know.
Right. I would love to see Terry more. I would love to see even Yuri. I think Yuri was kind of like that underdog where they didn't think that they would really get anything until he started getting popular with the fans. With the with the whole relationship with Monica, and then after that, okay, we're gonna have to move on to one of your least favorite couples, or probably your least favorite couple, Finn and Liz. And
oh gosh, but hey, my fave girl Liz. I get to talk about my fave girl Liz. So
absolutely. I really enjoyed seeing Elizabeth there this week, having Jake there and Wyatt. Seems like Wyatt comes around once a year. And having to get bandaged up by Dr. Gatlin Holt. But I think it was nice to have Elizabeth be that mother, that showing her as a mother rather than just the love interest of Finn for a little bit at least.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I really did. I will say I liked that they brought Jake back. When I saw Jake, I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I think they heard us on Twitter or something. Like, because we always ask, like, where is Jake? And like the thing is, my thing is, I really want to touch on is they let Liz have scenes with other characters other than Finn this week. Right. I was like, praise the Lord, they must have heard my prayers because we've got Jake on screen with Wyatt, and I don't know if I'm going to offend anyone by saying this, but this is what it reminded me of. Jake's got this like 2007 Jason Morgan hairstyle with like the porn like hairstyle. We called it the porn like hairstyle on Twitter. That's what it was called. And I was like, it's kind of reminded me with the long hair, right? Like Jake had this long hair. So I liked it. I was like, I'm getting some 2007 Jason vibes here. I'm liking this. So I was excited to see that. And I was excited to see Jake on screen with Wyatt. I'm like, his friend Wyatt's kind of cute. Like he's very underage. Okay, I'm not condoning anything here. But I was just like, his friend Wyatt's kind of cute. Like, where's this guy been? Like, they need to bring out Jake and his friend more on screen and have more of this going on. I liked that. I liked that a lot. So, I mean, it wasn't just about the Finn and Liz relationship this week and how that's progressing. And I mean, I think Finn is like head over heels for Liz. Mm-hmm. I mean, and rightfully so. So she's an amazing woman, despite the fact that she lies and she's a well-known hypocrite in town. I know people don't like her because she's a hypocrite. But if you think about it, we've all been hypocrites from time to time, okay? Yep, we all don't practice what we preach.
Yep.
All right? I'm guilty is one of them. So the thing is, though, Liz is kind of a relatable character, I think, in some ways. Like, she's a mom. She's trying to do the best she can. And when she does lie, she usually does it with the best of intentions. It may not come off that way, but she has the best of intentions. Now, sometimes it's selfish, yes, but we're all selfish from time to time, okay? Like, we're all selfish from time to time. We're not perfect. So, my thing is, I love Liz. I take her and all her faults, just like people love Sam. And Sam's not my favorite, but people love Sam. Like, they don't care that she slept with, I think she slept with Sonny and Jackson one night at one point, like a long time ago.
That was before I started watching.
That was like long before I started watching too, right? But like at one point she did that, okay? So like I'm just bringing up a random example, okay? No hate to Sam fans. Like, look, like you love your girl, you stand hard for your girl. I respect it because I stand hard for Liz. So I get it, you know? So there's some really like big Sam fans out there, you know? So it's really, the thing is, you got to you love your favorites, regardless of what they do, regardless of how boring they can be written at times or how terrible they can be written at times. You love them, right? So that's why I love Liz. And not a fan of her romantic choice in Finn right now. I honestly am just like if you're gonna go there, just go there. I don't need them to tiptoe into this relationship anymore. Just do it. Just commit. And I think at this point they've kind of had a relationship for over a year now, even though it's been on and off.
Yeah.
Like, just do it. I don't expect, now I'm just going to put this out there. I don't expect Becky to commit to another love scene. But if a Finn and Liz love scene does happen, we will just have to take it as maturely as possible. Some of us not maturely. I know you're on Twitter. You're not going to take this well. I might not take this well. I might throw out. I don't know what's going to happen, but it could happen. A Finn and Liz love scene could happen, and I think we need to prepare ourselves, and rightfully so, because it could happen. It could happen. It might not happen. I'm kind of hoping for a fade to black kind of scenario myself, but I'm just putting it out there. In the So you know what? If Liz is happy with Finn, I'm happy for her. And he's not my choice. I would rather her be single right now, but we're here.
So how do you feel about Gregory disclosing now to Liz that he has ALS?
Ooh, okay. I'm glad you brought that up because that was good. I actually really love that scene. I love that he disclosed it to her, and I loved her expressions were great. Becky's facial expressions for that were really great. Like, I think she said more with her facial expressions and her eyes than actual words, which was really, really good. So kudos to Becky for that because she's so underrated as an actress. Like, people don't give her any credit. Like, Hallmark, if you're listening, someone needs to give this girl a Hallmark movie, a Great American Family movie. She'd be perfect material for that. You don't need to.
Or right to sign on with Hallmark.
Yeah. I mean, Jen Lilly needs to give them a call or something for Becky because, like, Becky would be perfect for that. But anyway, I digress. The ALS storyline, as much as I don't care for Gregory, and I mean, he could die and I'll be fine. But that does give good material for Finn and Liz. It gives good material for Finn and Liz, and it gives good material for Chase and Brooklyn. Because when Chase finds out, oh my gosh. So I really hope that brings, him closer to Brooklyn and they go through that together and they come even closer. And then maybe, because Gregory did bring this up last week, like, hey, are you thinking about a future with Brooklyn? Have you discussed a future with Brooklyn? He's like, why are you, like, rushing this, like, on me? Like, we're not even there yet, blah, 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 blah. And I get it. Valid question. Like, but they're not there yet. They're not. So it's a valid question. It was a valid response. Totally get that. But I mean, I am curious myself about what the future of Chase and Brooklyn is because we have seen them as parents for Bailey. So we know they're in a position to be parents to a child of their own one day.
Yep.
So I do see marriage and kids for them in the future. And I would like the pacing to be a little bit more like,
let's go for
faster,
it.
Like, let's go. Like, let's put this in the high gear, and go because we waited so long for them to get together. Then they broke up for like 3-4 months, whatever. He was a homeless bum for over a year. Now he's finally got his job back. Like, let's go. Like, I am ready to get this relationship into gear. And if we could use Gregory and his ALS storyline as a catalyst for them to get there, I'm all for it.
Yeah. No, I get it. Although another fallout from the Gregory ALS storyline is Finn in an AA meeting or AA meeting, and Alexis walking in and kind of hearing Finn talk about her. Like she knew that it was about her. And I don't know. Oh, that's right. That's why, because I said that name. My Amazon device started.
I was like, what is that in the background?
Yes, my Amazon device said it because I said Nancy Lee Grant's character name, so I have to be a little careful.
Oh, wow. That's the trigger for your Amazon Alexa to go off?
Yes. So, so anyways, when she comes in and just hears Finn talking, and he had every right to go there. He's struggling with a different struggle now, and being that he's an addict and he needed that support. I get it. And he has every right to be upset with Nancy Lee Grant's character. I have to make sure not to say her name anymore.
Right.
But he has every right to be upset with her for not coming to him, in my opinion. But at the same time, looking at it from her point of view, she was maintaining kind of like, confidentiality with her friend. So I guess it gets kind of hard when you're a really close friend to a father and a son. And, I don't know. I don't know what I would do in her shoes if I was in her situation, but I do see it from both sides.
Yes. Me too.
Yeah. you have another podcast to do, don't you?
I have a little Roswell rewatch I do normally on Sunday nights at Roswell Virtual Party on Instagram. So if you watch the show about teenage hybrid aliens, it was from 1999 to 2002. So I have a page about that on Instagram. So you can follow me on there if you'd like. But yes, I do. And so we're fitting in our little podcast, at least this part of it, before I do that. But yeah, I have that in about 9 minutes now. So we'll be cutting it short for that. But I mean, I really wanted us to get through some GH stuff before I go off and do my little Roswell rewatch, which I do every Sunday. I really enjoy it. It's that show was the TV show that I like to say saved my suicidal teenage life, because I was formerly suicidal back then. And that show gave me a reason to like live and look forward to something every week, because I was back then I was in this crazy mindset of, well, I can't kill myself because Max and Liz might get back together next week on Roswell, so I gotta like keep it together for that. And that was like throughout the entirety of season 2 when they were actually not together, but they like gave you little hope. They gave you little hope nuggets like every week, like, oh, they might get back together. Like they were holding hands last week. Next week might be good. Like, you know, they give little things that I'd hold on to, and yeah. So yeah, we are in the last few episodes of season 3, and then I think I'm going to do a rewatch of Dawson's Creek after that, because that's another show that saved my.
Okay, so Roswell is not a current show. Shows how much
it's a past show, and I'm not talking about the
Area 54.
I'm not talking about the reboot, because there was a reboot called Roswell, New Mexico. Not talking about that one. Look, I'm glad that one brought more awareness to the original, but I'm talking about the OG Roswell from 1999 to 2002, and I got back into it during COVID, and it's been a wonderful thing when I created this page, and it's a wonderful little, very loving, supportive community, and you know, there are some mean girls in the community, but other than that, it's been great. So yeah, I do that every Sunday at 8 p.m. Central, and I love it. And yeah, feel free to join me on there if you were a fan of the show or just want to know about the show. I recommend watching it with the original music. I have links to that. You can contact me about that. I recommend watching it with the original music because it has a real impact on how you feel in the scene. So they had to replace 80% of it for, you know, music license. Yeah. You know, cost of music licenses are high, so they had to, you know, replace 80% of it. They did that with Felicity and Dawson's Creek too.
I do it with WWE as well. On Peacock, you know, when it comes to licensed music, they do dub over it. So it's the era of streaming and music rights and everything. So I get it. But while you're off doing that, I'm actually going to continue for a while. Got some big wrestling news to go over, some sad news. And I'm going to pause here. I will be right back. Christy will be off doing her thing, and Christy will be back on later, because I think we're going to resume some GH talk on another day, and then we'll release this episode on Tuesday. So
okay. Sounds like a deal. Sounds like a deal to me.
So I'm going to pause here. And all right, through the magic of television and time, we are back. Today is Thursday, August 31st, a couple of days later than we expected, but it's to be expected. Not a problem. As always, this is Christy. I'm Vinny, and we are here at the Suds in the Squared Circle. This is part 2, and we have traveled through time in the same episode, and we're going to continue talking about last week, which was the week ending August 25th. And anyways, so we're going to be going on and talking about, we've got to move on to, let's see, we just talked about what we have to talk about today. But we do have to go over Valentine and Anna and this whole Pikeman deal, and Anna's getting very suspicious of Valentine now. Now, how do you think that Valentine is Pikeman, or do you think there's something higher?
I don't want to assume the worst because I feel like that would be the worst case scenario for Anna is for Valentine to be Pikeman. I
Mhm.
want to believe that he really is just working for Pikeman, like
Yeah.
he's telling her. That's what I want to believe. Um, but I mean, I think there's things he's not telling her everything, and
Right.
she knows that, and she's catching on to that. But I think it's good conflict for their relationship because I haven't really had any in a while. I guess since like I don't consider Greenland conflict, but um, I I'm hoping that like Anna really catches him like
Yeah.
red-handed because I think that'll be good drama for the story to really catch him in the act of like what he's doing.
Right.
I hope it's not anything like too bad. I hope he's not directly connected to the person who like set her house on fire.
So going back to that,
Yeah.
so who do you think was it that set the house on fire? Because I mean I know they're throwing the red herring in there that Valentine's car wasn't seen at ELQ. That Dante specifically said that his car was not seen on the ELQ footage. So is that a red herring? Was it him burning the house down? Was it, I've also heard rumors that it could have been Alex. Of course they never found Alex's body, so I mean she could still be alive. Um, or do you think it could be somebody different? Could it be Holly back? Although we haven't heard anything, you know, that Emmett Samms is coming back after her little bit of a run earlier in the year.
Well, for me, I feel like they're almost alluding it to being like somebody in the WSB who like has something against her because they're trying to like, frame her for something or I
Right.
mean, expose her past like misdeeds or something. So I think that they're alluding to that. Whether or not that's the case, I don't know. I think it would kind of make sense if Valentine was somehow involved in
Mhm.
her house burning down. Maybe he's not the one who like did it, but maybe he knows who did it. And I think that would be good conflict for their relationship. And that would definitely cause a rift in them to have to repair
Yeah.
a couple. I really, honestly, like I don't really know for sure. It's just kind of like a mystery that I'm hoping they wrap up within the next like 3 months, preferably.
Right.
You know how they drag things out on GH for like ever.
Yep.
Like, please don't do that. like I'm tired of that. I'm so tired of
No, I get it. Although I am intrigued. I here's what I love. I love the aspect of I can't figure out exactly who it is. I love the intrigue. I love the mystery of it. I don't like let me put it, I don't like the um where it's so predictable. I That's why it's like even though it wasn't predictable, when it came to the Port Charles hook, I was kind of let down because we kind of knew that Heather, Heather's a villain and everything, and I honestly wanted it to be someone different. I wanted it to be someone different. I didn't like the letdown, and we're actually going on a year now that storyline ended. But I want I like the intrigue. I would love if it is going to be Valentine. I like that they're kind of throwing it that way, but the fact that it may not be, I like that as well. Like I can't predict who it's going to be.
Yeah, me too. Like I don't feel like we really know one way or the other. Just kind
Yeah,
of in so I look forward to finding out, like I
right.
hope they keep making it an an exciting, mysterious thing for us to watch rather than just it getting like stale.
Yeah,
So like I hope they don't let it get too stale without like really revealing more. Like they need to be dropping more and more
exactly. Yeah,
so we could kind of figure it out as an audience.
yeah. Keep adding the layers. Um, they keep adding the layers to it. But although I will say that I think that everything it, from what I've seen, it looks to me like there's going to be an entire storyline of everything coming together with with Pikeman. But now we kind of see a new wrinkle that Austin Austin and Mason, from what they're showing us, it looks like Cyrus is connected somehow. We saw that Carly went to go visit Drew in Pentonville, and we saw Austin go in with the medicine bag, and part of the pills that he gave Cyrus had that flash drive in it. Now I don't know necessarily how Cyrus is going to utilize a flash drive in prison, but that's beyond me.
I mean, the guy's got connections, I would assume, right? So
Yeah.
something is going to find out some way to get some kind of.
How do you like Cyrus's new hairdo?
That was an interesting scene, I will say. That's off to GH for that one. That was really interesting to watch and see him take a knife out of his sock and stuff and do his own haircut. That's where it was kind of, I think, revealed to the audience, like, okay, like, he's not a completely changed man. There's something else going on here. He's not like, he's not all, like I like to call him Brother Cyrus, but he's not all fully roller here. So let's see what's happening. Like he's definitely working with someone, whether it's Pikeman or Valentine or something. I think something's happening where he got.
That's the part that actually took me out of the story for a second, because I don't think I've ever seen anybody get that kind of a haircut and stylized in prison. More of like, you get the basic buzz cut and that's about it. You don't get that stylistically pleasing hairdo in prison.
You do get it when you're on General Hospital, though. So
exactly. So
soap opera prison haircut.
They must have some really skilled barbers in prison because it's all inmates. So there's got to be something there. It's not like they take it to a salon for the day.
Brother Cyrus is moonlighting as a hairstylist. Another job.
And not to mention doing it yourself with a
yeah, exactly.
But so we see that Austin's there visiting. We also saw a scene at the same time that Mason was meeting with somebody, but they never revealed who Mason was meeting with outside, and from what it seemed outside the prison. Because from what it seemed, Mason gave Austin the ride to the prison, and Mason met with somebody outside. Austin met with Cyrus inside. So at least that's the way they showed it and how the editing was. Bravo with that. But we still don't know who Mason met with. I've heard rumors it might be Brick. Do you think Brick is turning on Sonny?
Could be. That would be an interesting play if they did it.
If they had Brick as the leader of Pikeman, that would be something to play with.
I don't know if GH writers are that smart though. Are they that good? I don't know
if they necessarily have Stephen A. Smith for that long of a storyline arc, if that's the case. With his commitments to ESPN and everything else, I don't necessarily know if Stephen A. Smith is going to be available for that kind of storyline, but you never know.
Right.
It could be so. I mean, they're bringing back so many different players now. I've also heard that it could be Alcazar. That Ted King has been in talks with GH to come back, and with Blair from One Life to Live coming back, Cassie DePaiva is coming back to GH as Blair from One Life to Live. That would open the door now for Alcazar to come back, considering Alcazar did both One Life to Live and General Hospital.
I would personally love that. That would be amazing. But does GH have it in the budget? I don't.
I mean, Frank Valentini seems to be pulling things out of his ass right now. I mean, the fact that they brought Walt Willey back as Jackson Montgomery this week, which those scenes are playing currently, and then Cassie DePaiva coming back for a short run. It's not out of the realm of possibility that Ted King could be coming back. Now, if you remember, on One Life to Live, he played Tomas Delgado, which they actually made references to during the whole One Life to Live crossover when Taya was in Port Charles or coming to Port Charles. I remember the scene vividly that it was Blair, it was Sky, and Sam that went to go visit Taya to find out if Tomas was there, who they think was just a cover up or an alias of Lorenzo Alcazar. I mean, I've also heard rumors that maybe it's Sky, considering she puts all these three shows together. Maybe Sky is Pikeman or the leader of Austin's cult or Austin's company or whatever. So there's a lot of rumors out there. I know Robin Christopher, who portrays Sky, has supposedly retired from acting. So who knows? I mean, they got Jane Elliott to come out of retirement for this run.
They did.
So it all, there's a lot of rumor and innuendo out there. There's a lot of it out there about who could be coming back to General Hospital on this run. And with the majority of primetime actors out of work because of the strike, that leaves a lot on the table for if they want to work on in the soap realm.
Right, because they have an exemption for that from SAG-AFTRA, so that would be.
Because I mean, it's the same thing with John Cena. He can't act in any movie, so he's going to be on SmackDown for the next 8 weeks. So I mean, that opens his. And I've heard rumors about The Rock coming back at some point too, but that's for another show. But there's just a lot that I think they can utilize. I mean, there is the writer strike still going on. The SAG-AFTRA strike is still going on. Who knows when the Producers Guild may be going on a strike? I guess that's supposed to be next year. Or the Directors Guild of America. I mean, there's so many different unions. Like, damn. But either way, there is that soap opera exemption. So can we see these major names coming back?
It'd be great if they took if GH took the opportunity and reached out to them and said, "Hey, we got some work for you. You want it?" It'd be wonderful to see, but I guess time will tell if that happens. But I would be down for some returns, at least in the short term.
Yeah, like kind of bring in some of these major names while they have the opportunity, and then it's almost like in wrestling there's a term hot-shotting the territory. When you do something like the entire Attitude Era was considered a hot shot of the territory. The booking was to the point where you get the maximum amount of ratings, you push everything into it. You get very quick title changes, you get very, very action packed, you get a lot of the hardcore stuff, the blood stuff, just to kind of pop the ratings, so to speak. That's what Frank Valentini should be doing at this point. Focus on getting the maximum amount of eyes, because ultimately it comes down to ratings. Now, I don't know, and I wish there was a website. Maybe I could try kind of dig into the Nielsen website, but I would love to know the ratings for for all four soaps for that matter, and just to kind of see where they are, because I want to see where the ratings were for Days of Our Lives before they moved over to Peacock, and kind of what those ratings are now. Because ultimately, if the viewers stop watching, then that'll leave ABC or Disney, no choice but to cancel the show. We don't want that. So Frank Valentini, all the soap opera, executive producers need to start popping these ratings. And if that means bringing back names from the past or just kind of get that hot shot in there, it needs to be done. Maybe that's
I think there's definitely some articles out there about that. I would want to look into that too. I think I would assume that there would maybe be a little bit of a hit in viewership just because of the move from television to streaming.
right.
There's still old school viewers out there who are not going to be able to make that transition
Right.
to an app on your phone or an app on your computer. It's just not going to be something that they're interested in in doing, or a service they're willing to pay for, an extra service, which is, I think Peacock is pretty affordable, like $6 a month, $5 or $6.
Yeah, for the ad-supported services, $5.99 a month. For the premium is $11.99 a month, but it's also included, from what I've seen, with both Comcast and DirecTV. So I don't necessarily know how that's going to affect, viewership. That's something I'm going to have to put on my notes for the next couple episodes. Look to research the ratings for all 4 soaps and kind of see where it lies for daytime television. All right. So kind of moving on, we did talk about Valentine and Anna briefly. We talked about Austin, Mason, and how, although I will say that Sunny kind of brings both these storylines together. Now that, we had Sunny basically at the Metro Court when when Curtis was shot. I think he was there because he was talking to Anna. So he's kind of involved in that storyline. He's involved with Pikeman. We know that. And we know that Ava finally came clean to Sunny. So now he's involved in that whole thing. So are they setting up for some kind of an umbrella storyline where Sunny's like involved in all 3 of these things and they're going to converge into one?
It's a really good question, because I'm starting to think that Sunny is way more involved than we thought. It kind of makes sense, though. He's a big main character, so for him to be involved in like all 3 of these storylines, it makes sense. And I did find it a little like interesting and maybe a little suspicious that he was so super nice to Anna and having these really nice scenes with her, and almost like I haven't seen Sunny and Anna have scenes like this in like a long time. So I feel like
they are friends. I mean, they are friends.
I feel like there's something else behind it, though, besides just like being friends.
Yeah.
Like, so I do feel like there's stuff going on, there that we don't know yet.
Yeah, no, there's definitely stuff that we don't know about. It's to the point now where something has to break almost. We need to be able to see Sunny kind of get to the bottom of it. I like the scenes this week with Brick, where Brick had come up with that formula or that virus or program that once Betty took the flash drive and gave it to her boss and Austin's boss, it would track them. So again, we have to figure that out. Was that the flash drive that Austin gave to Cyrus, or was it something where Mason gave it to the person he met? We still don't know that. Because I thought the flash drive that Sunny had left for Betty to look at was a basic regular flash drive. This one looked like the one for your wireless mouse that you couldn't find. But again, I don't know.
Yeah, that whole thing is really weird. The whole flash drive thing is just like, what's on the flash drive? What's it about?
I hope they reveal that to us pretty soon. Again, I didn't watch today's episode. I will have to watch it. This week has been quite intriguing thus far. So we'll have to see. How about at the end of was that the end of Friday's episode, or was that Monday's episode where it was revealed that Tracy was the one that's behind the lawsuit? Actually, I think that was Monday's episode, because I was
Monday they got into the lawsuit.
But this week is, let me put it this way, this week is intriguing, and when we get together on Sunday to film next week's episode, we're gonna have a lot more to talk about in terms of things that are going on this current week in Port Charles. For those of you that are listening or watching, I should say, I want you guys to kind of get to be more active. I've noticed on Twitter, or on X, I should say, I've noticed on X that there's been a lot less movement, I think, like a lot less impressions that the posts are getting. And Matt from the 10th floor podcast is actually live right now. They couldn't record Sunday because of the weather and power outages in LA. So they're actually live right now as we're recording. But the impressions on X is going down. I don't know whether it's you got to start using more hashtags or just less people are really viewing things.
I don't know. I mean, it could be less people on the platform. I mean, I'm not really caring that much for the changes myself, and of course the negativity that I've experienced myself on the app.
Yep.
It's just not the most positive place to be, is that app. So I don't know if that's part of it or what. You know, I could joke around and say, "Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. That's the reason why we're not getting this problem." But I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't. I don't really know for sure. I feel like there's more, as far as social media goes. I feel like there's more positive feedback on Facebook and Instagram than there is on X.
Agreed.
You get so much like spewing of my opinion is the right opinion on X.
Right.
And it's not, X or Twitter, it's just not for the faint of heart. I will say that. You got to have like a thick skin. You got to be able to take people's words and just kind of let them roll off your back, because people will say anything and everything about you based off one tweet that you put. One tweet and that's it. Like, they're done with you.
All right, so let me ask you this. I'm actually going to put you on the spot here. Thing is, this is Suds and the Squared Circle, and you actually sent me a text the other day saying that your roommate had you watch, I believe, SmackDown.
I did.
How was your first experience watching a WWE event?
Let's just say I can see the soap opera parallels between a wrestling show and soap opera, because I'm like watching, I'm like, this is totally staged. like they set this up. They're like, and I'm talking to my roommate Willie about it, because he's very much into soaps. I said, they set this up, right? I'm like, they know the general premise. Like, this person's gonna have beef with this person. They do improv a lot of stuff, I've heard, but it's mainly like kind of set up where they know the situation of what's supposed to go down. But I mean, it was interesting. It's just like watching and going, all right, I see how this is like a soap opera. It's kind of a soap opera in a way, because you kind of get to know the characters. And like, well, this person is beef with this person, and this person are like brothers, and this guy is like the enemy, this guy's like the bad guy that nobody likes, but now some people like him in the last few years. And so it's interesting how you kind of get to know like characters.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like they're characters on a soap opera, except they're wrestlers. But I mean, I think on wrestling, I don't know that much about wrestling, but I'm learning a little bit more as I watch it, and I'm like, all right, so this is kind of like soaps. Like, you kind of know, like, this is the main guy everyone roots for, and then this is the guy that a lot of people don't like, because you can tell by the audience reaction.
Of course.
When there's a mix of boos and like excitement. you can tell, but I like it. I like when they have the female wrestlers against each other. That's really interesting.
Women's wrestling has come a long way in the past, even 5 years, but ultimately, like back in the Attitude Era, the late 90s, early 2000s, women's wrestling really wasn't like, it was more about showing the body, showing more sex appeal than anything. It's only really in the past 5 to 7 years that it's gotten to the point where now the women's matches are just as much, if not more, competitive and more showy and athletic than the men's. Back in, and a lot of it had to do with Ronda Rousey. Now, for wrestling fans out there, say what you will about Ronda Rousey's WWE run. She came in at WrestleMania 31 originally, and actually 30, was it 32? That it was Kurt Angle? Yeah, I think it was 32 that it was Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. And then she was, she had signed for a year contract. I'm sorry, no, that was 34 that she debuted. But 35 was actually the very first women's main event of WrestleMania. And it was Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch. That was at the MetLife Stadium in New York. And since then, there's actually been, with the exception of this year, there's been a women's main event at least one of the WrestleMania nights, whether it was Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. But ultimately, women's wrestling has come so far. And a lot of that has to do with the popularity of Ronda Rousey. Personally, I think that WWE has, let me put it this way. You could look at professional wrestling in multiple viewpoints and multiple different lenses, but ultimately it comes down to the fact that at the core of it, it is like a soap opera. Just they perform live in front of an audience instead of, taping, an episode a day, so to speak. And, they have
soap operas actually film 2 or 3 episodes a day.
Well, okay.
But yeah, but I get what you're saying.
They don't have, and I got to hand it to soap actors as well, because they're, like you said, 2 or 3 episodes a day, and just listening to different podcasts like the Soap Opera Digest podcast, or even Stone Cold and the Jackal, or Maurice Bernard's State of Mind. Just the amount of dialogue they have to memorize for a day of taping is a lot. And you hear about people that cross over from primetime and come back from like a primetime show, or even a movie episode, or a movie filming. They're overwhelmed, let me put it that way, by the amount of dialogue that someone has to remember for a day of taping or a week of taping. I give them a lot of credit.
Yes. Yeah.
But anyway, I kind of think we've covered everything within these past 2 recording sessions.
I still have one question though.
Sure.
We gotta talk about Ava in the whole Nicholas thing, which I know Nicholas is coming back now.
Yep.
But it was this whole question for me, does Ava, are we gonna see if Ava's figured out where Nicholas's body was? That was kind of a whole question of well, where's the body? And
right.
Now we know there was a body, and obviously he is alive, which I kind of figured they weren't gonna have Nicholas be dead. But I find that whole dynamic with Ava and Austin interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoy their scenes because they kind of play off each other really well, and I actually really like Roger and Maura and scenes together a lot. So I hope that continues, whether or not that's in a romantic sense or not. It was just a flash in the pan of their one time together. I just think they should have just hate sex all over the mansion. I just think that'd be amazing.
Well, here's the thing, putting it into perspective now, it was revealed that Austin basically saved Nicholas's life and nursed him back to health. That was what Austin told Cyrus, whether that was this week or last week, I can't remember. But it kind of puts it into question now. what Austin's motives really were. Because if you think about it, they did fall into bed together because they had this shared secret. But on top of that, now Austin had the secret that he saved her husband's life and, kept him alive. So, what is Austin's motive?
Yeah, I think he's got some nefarious motives that he's not quite sharing.
He's very shady now. Like,
He's a very shady doctor. I wouldn't trust him. I wouldn't trust him, and I think Ava is gonna, catch on to his. Ava's really smart. She knows that something is not right there, and it's
yeah.
going up. And is look. Like I think was it today or yesterday? So I think he came over and she's like, "I need answers from you. That's all I need. I need answers."
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I completely agree. Was there anything else you wanted to go over from last week's episodes?
I don't believe so. I mean, I feel like we've covered just about everything.
Okay.
Other than Michael and Willow, which is kind of snooze button for me. Michael, Willow, Nina, snooze. I fast forward through most of their stuff because I'm like, they talk about the same stuff over and over again. I mean, the only thing we've kind of gotten some progression on is like Willow's finally not going to play. Oh, I'm dying.
Yep.
That she did for a whole year. Finally, we're out of that, and now we're going to get her, I guess, going back to being a nurse at GH. Thank God. Like, I mean, I don't know why we had to put up with that for a year. Like if you're not going to kill the girl off, just like stop this.
Exactly.
After a while. So I guess now they're just like go back to.
I got into trouble on Facebook because I made a comment on a post on a GH forum or GH group post saying that about Willow, and I said I just hope she dies really soon, and because I was getting to the point where I was tired of this whole thing. First off,
it's a valid response, people. I'm sorry. It was exhausting watching this girl cry about possibly dying for a year.
See, here's the thing, is that 95% of all the stuff that happened to her was her fault. Not the cancer itself or the leukemia itself, but the fact that she hid it during the pregnancy, didn't tell anybody, decide, and I'm all, and without getting into any kind of abortion issue or anything, but the fact is that if you have a serious illness like cancer or leukemia and you're pregnant at the same time, I get it. She made her choice. She made her choice to say, no, I'm going to have the baby first. So now you have to live with the consequence that now the leukemia has progressed so far. But why don't you at least tell Michael? Like, you kind of have to open your mouth. So anything that happened to her afterwards, like this entire time that she was pregnant and had fighting leukemia at the same time, there could have been a bone marrow drive going on at that time, trying to find a suitable donor. But she had to wait, and they had to wait. So when I made the comment, I hope she dies already, it was just like, I'm tired of it. Like, I'm tired of seeing this because she's so far progressed because of her own choices.
No, they made her very unlikable.
Yeah.
With her choices of refusing to get treatment right away, refusing to tell Michael. Yep. And it's like, well, you're stage 3, stage 4, whatever, because you refuse to like get help and get treatment and even like tell Michael. So she was putting undue amount of like stress and anxiety on herself. Yep. For the simple fact that she refused to even just tell Michael. Exactly. Like it was very frustrating. And I think the reason why you are not the only one, and I know some people like champion for Willow and are Willow fans, and my hat's off to you. I don't know how you can be a Willow fan after this past year, but it was just very exhausting to see this girl cry and cry day after day, like I'm gonna die, blah blah blah. Like we're tired of seeing you cry every day. I felt bad for the actress, like having to do that day in, day out and cry and act like she was dying every day. I mean, she looked like death had warmed over. I mean, she had probably that death makeup on every day. Like that was exhausting, probably for her as an actress and for us as a viewer to continually watch that over and over again. She did it. She powered through. They
Oh yeah.
I mean, like it was not the most pleasant like viewing experience, and they just they dragged that out too long.
Yes.
For her whole sickness,
Yeah.
like that could have been wrapped up way quicker. And this is my thing, and I know soap operas like we have 5 episodes a week, so we feel like we can drag things out like a really long time. But I think that has the opposite effect on the audience, because these days viewers just want things like
there's no
at a quicker pace.
Well, yes and no. If the story is good enough, people will enjoy it and go for the ride. But there has to be enough movement quick enough in order to keep everybody involved and keep everybody enthralled in the storyline. You know, I agree. I like the slow burn storylines. I like the long-term stuff. I mean, but with everybody's attention span so quick nowadays, like you want to get things done and quickly enough and get to the end of things. But if it's done right, if it's paced right, and you have the little things that keep the story going every week or every day or every 2 weeks just to move it along with a new wrinkle or a new layer, people will stay tuned. So the example I have is the Bloodline storyline in the WWE. It got to a fever pitch to the point at WrestleMania where Roman Reigns everybody thought he was losing to Cody Rhodes and losing the title. But lo and behold, Roman won and kept the title, and the story kept going. And it just got better. And now at this point, as of yesterday, the 30th, Roman Reigns has been Universal Champion for 3 solid years. Nobody's done that since Hulk Hogan back in the 80s during his first title run, which was 4 years. So the fact that it's still going on and the long-term storytelling, it's working. But there has to be proper amount of pacing to keep people interested.
Yes, I would agree with that. Some storylines, they do that well, but there's a lot of pacing issues in general that I think I have with General Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And to see a storyline just keep going on and on with like little to no progression is very frustrating as a viewer. And that's probably like my number one beef with GH is like
I think a lot of storylines are unfortunately suffering with that right now, especially the Spencer and Trina one. I agree. It's been, and if General Hospital is not careful, they're going to unfortunately piss a lot of people off. The Sprina storyline, the Sprina pairing as a couple, has such a loud audience, especially on X, especially on social media, that they have to look, and I made a comment that the writers don't always look at social media. The writers don't always look at what the fans want, because the fans are so, and I think I brought this up earlier in the episode when we recorded the other day, but the fans don't know what they want, because you have one fan who feels so strongly, or even a group of fans that feel so strongly one way, then you got another group of fans that feel so strongly the other way. Of course, I'm probably the only one that actually liked Peter August, but I'm probably in the minority with that. But I enjoyed Peter August. But you have, especially with the Spencer and Trina storyline, you have so many people and a younger audience and an audience that is loud, that wants this couple together and just end the barriers, or at least give them some type of reprieve. Do they have real life barriers? Yes, they do. But at this point in time, kind of cool off the Esme stalking Trina, because or stalking Spencer and trying to get Spencer to be with her and the baby. Because to be honest with you, at this point in time, it's showing that Esme is still herself, and the amnesia is either gone or it's an act at this point, because she's still pining over Spencer and trying to keep Spencer away from Trina. Let Trina deal with her family's problems, but go to Spencer for comfort and let Spencer be there to comfort her. She doesn't have to worry about Curtis's physical therapy and rehab. She could be there to support her family and that, but she doesn't have to be the main person there and have the brunt of it on her, where her mother is the one that's supposed to. So again, there's just a lot that can be done to appease the audience, and I think that that would appease the majority of the audience. Are there Esme Spencer fans out there? I haven't seen any, but maybe there are. But it doesn't mean
there is a thing called agenda shipping. So, I mean,
agenda shipping.
Yeah, like people want a certain couple together just for the sake of not having another couple together. So there's that. I'll put that out there. There are people who are like, well, I would like this to happen, so this couple doesn't happen. So yeah, wow. There are people who may be agenda shipping. That's me. Spencer. I hate to put it out there, but I mean, there are those people who are like, will feel a certain way. Maybe that's not the best example, but I mean, there is a thing called agenda shipping out there. Note, I know it sounds crazy, but it's a thing.
Well, on that note, I think we're probably going to end the show there, because I don't want to really get into any agenda shipping right now. And
yeah, that's a little messy.
We'll have to pick that up in another episode. But anyways, Christy, where can people find you online?
These days I'm not really on my leaves on radio account on X, for personal reasons. I'm a little bit on my personal account at Creative Fan 15. I have my my Roswell thing on Instagram at Roswell Virtual Party. And I'm Creative Fan 15 on Instagram too, if you want to find me on there. And then, I don't really go on Facebook too much, except for my friends.
Okay. Family. So, you did recently put out a new video on your YouTube, though.
I've been putting out shorts on my YouTube because trying to spruce it up. I'm playing with the shorts thing from my phone.
Okay.
And getting some shorts up there of previous videos I've done. But yes, my YouTube is youtube.com/user/xcreativechristyx. And I'm like 10 people away from like 2,000. So if I could get there, I'd be really happy. Yeah, might take a little bit, but yeah, I'm gonna try. Things have been, health-wise, not the best month for me, but I'm gonna attempt to get a new video out there.
All right, and you can find me on X at @VApicellus Find the show on X at Suds SQ Circle Pod. We're all over the place. Go to our website. That's the best place to find all of our links, and that's sudsandsquaredcircle.com. Brand new website, revamped, relaunched. You can find links to wherever our podcast is. You can find the videos and the podcasts auto-populate every week. All of our links. You could sign up to be a guest on the show, leave some feedback, everything that is there for you to do. sudsandsquaredcircle.com. Anyways, for Christy, I'm Vinny. We'll see you just in just a few days on Sunday, and tune in and have fun, and enjoy Suds and the Squared Circle. Have a great night, everybody.